Hello, welcome back to another episode of Modern Streams. And today I have here with me Zach from Magic Nothing. I've been following his music marketing project for over a year now, and it's been amazing to see his growth and massive contribution to the music community. So, Zach, welcome to the podcast.
What's up? Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here, and I appreciate all the kind words.
Of course, I'm super excited for our listeners to listen to this podcast because I'm sure that you have a lot of information to share. So, you just popped out on my Instagram one day, and I would like to know, how did you get into the world of music marketing?
Yeah, so it was not on purpose. It was not something I was trying to do. At first, my background is as a musician. I've been a musician for 25 years. I came up in like a DIY, kind of a punk background, to be honest. I grew up in the Bay Area, like outside of San Francisco, and I was a punk kid. I played in punk bands and just was used to doing everything myself because that was such a big part of the ethos of the world that I came up in. And through years and years of doing music, putting out records, touring, everything, I did everything myself. And I just had to pick up all of these different skills, and marketing was one of them. And what happened was, I got to a point where other people just started asking me for help, and I just realized there was such a huge need in my community for help navigating basically what is a big shift in the industry into like technology space. You know, as Spotify comes out, as Instagram and TikTok take over, people were really struggling to understand how to use these tools effectively, and they would ask me for help. So I just started making content to share what I'd learned, and it just organically exploded. So that's kind of what happened. That's how I got into the space. I was, I was realizing there was an opportunity to help people, and I was starting to offer workshops at the time. And so I was just making content to promote the workshops, and they just exploded.
So that was how many years ago?
This was 2 years ago. So it's only been 2 years since this project started.
That's amazing. Like,
Yeah, it's been crazy.
You're a baby in the world of like music marketing, but still it feels like you've been here for years.
Yeah, it was very fast. Like most of the growth happened in the first 6 to 8 months. Like it had just exploded. And I've been kind of working behind the scenes for the last year as I'm like building a new platform and working on a lot of projects. But most of the growth just happened really, really fast. There was a huge demand.
Yeah, I've been seeing your growth, and basically you grew from like 0 to 75,000 Instagram followers in what, a matter of 2 years?
Yeah, and the first 50,000 I think were like 7 months. So it was very fast. If you want, I could show you the growth curve. It's insane. It was literally just exploded. I think it was just at the right place, right time thing. You know what I mean?
What do you
And
think? Yeah, that's really because I've seen it and it looked crazy from my side, seeing you just from like 10,000 followers, and then I just refreshed and I saw 70,000.
yeah.
And I was really curious to know what do you think was the biggest question that your content answered? Was it about playlists, ads, social media?
That's such a good question. Most of those followers are due to one concept, which is just around running meta ads to drive listenership on Spotify. That's it. So I think what was happening was there were other people that were talking about that stuff in our space, right? Andrew Southworth is a great example of that. Bless
Yeah.
him. I love Andrew. And in my community, people just didn't resonate with his work, and it's nothing against him. It's just for whatever reason, they weren't consuming his content. And I think part of it is that he was on YouTube, and a lot of people in my community were just on Instagram, or sort of like, we're not quite the TikTok generation. We're not, I'm a little bit older. I'm 40. So for me, it was like, I think a lot of my followers are in this space where they're between the ages of like, I'm going to say like 27 and 40. So they're a little bit like older, which is interesting. And I don't think anybody was serving that market. And I don't think it was an intentional thing. I just realized that, me posting that content just resonated with them. And I think there was just a big hole and it just exploded. And all I was talking about is like, hey, this is how you can blow up Spotify just by running ads. And people were like, whoa, I didn't know you could do that. And it was really straightforward. That's the thing that drove most of the growth on my Instagram. It's all organic. Like none of that growth is from ads. It's just from posting content.
That's like, I had no idea that musicians were that interested in ads, because for me it seems like social media and playlists are the main things that musicians are interested in. But what you said about, yeah, musicians probably don't, they're not as exposed to meta ads because it's all on YouTube. And basically the fact that you showed it, it's like, yeah, I guess there was a gap. But I saw that recently you were really into playlists, and with the new platform that you launched recently, and we will talk about it in a bit. But first, I want to ask you, do you think that Spotify playlists are still effective in 2026?
Oh, yeah. It depends what your goals are. Everything comes down to goals, right? Like, what is a playlist going to do for you? I think of it like, first of all, it's just a really fun thing to create that gives people a sense of like what world you live in, right? It's kind of like a big topic these days is world building. And if you're world building on social media, creating good playlists around your music is like world building on Spotify. You're giving people a sense of what world your music lives in and how they can engage with it in meaningful ways that connects them with other things they might know. So I hope that makes sense. But basically, like, you're just helping people understand how to contextualize your work. And it also works in Spotify because their algorithm uses something called collaborative filtering, which is like, it's saying, we recommend your music to people who like this other music. So by putting yourself in a playlist with other artists that you like, you're training Spotify to associate you with those artists. And by promoting them, now you have this asset, your playlist, that's evergreen, meaning that you can keep promoting it forever and you can continue adding and removing songs as you wish and as you evolve as an artist. And it allows you to just have like your place to promote your work, and you don't have to do any new work. Like once you have an ad for that playlist or a promotional strategy for that playlist, you just let that go and you can promote your work without doing anything. You know what I mean? You just have to change the order of the songs. So I think it's an extremely effective way. It can drive a lot of streams and listenership, which can trigger the algorithm and blah, blah, blah. We can get all into that. But yeah, it's really effective. It's really fun. I think it's also just fun to like make playlists, like it's,
Yeah. Oh, you're
right?
telling
Like,
me.
right? Like it's cool.
100%.
We all do it. So it's something we all already have, and you can monetize it. There's so many things you can do with it.
But what you're talking here is about creating your own playlist as an artist. So what I'm wondering, let's say in the past, I would recommend artists when they release a new song to submit their music to as many playlists as possible. So what you're saying is basically that method is dead, and what you should do, you should create your own playlist or a few playlists, and then you don't need to submit your music to other playlists because you have your own playlist.
Well, I think it goes both ways. Like I would suggest number one, having your own playlist is just the most effective, but it's the most work. Submitting to other playlists is also great because then you're just sort of like benefiting off of that work that other people are doing too, right? Like, for example, if you're a curator and you're curating playlists and you're driving listenership to it, of course, it's great for artists to get on that playlist. That's a wonderful thing. So I think like, you want to do both, but in my personal opinion, the most value to the artist is to create and curate your own playlist. That's you're going to get the most value out of that. And then like, yeah, if you find other playlists that are a good fit for you, absolutely submit to them because it's an easy win. Like for a couple bucks, you can get on a kick-ass playlist that introduces you to a lot of listeners, right? So I think, once again, it depends on your goals. If your goal is to generate more listenership and traction or like up your monthly listeners because of some booking agent or manager that's in your ear telling you need that, it can be really effective for that. So I think on both sides, in my opinion, every artist that's promoting their work, it benefits them to have good playlists, and it benefits them to submit to good playlists. So, yeah.
Yeah. I will ask you a more practical question now. Let's say you had $1,000 to spend on a song release. How would you split it between playlists and ads?
It depends. So, what's the goal?
Well, let's say I'm a new artist. I just released my new song. I know nothing about music. What would you recommend me to do?
What
Because
are you
that's many
trying to get?
musicians. They don't even know. So let's start with the question.
Yeah,
What do
yeah,
you
yeah.
think would be the goal? What would be the goal of a new musician? Because they're also confused. I believe that a lot of
Mm.
musicians, they have $1,000. They don't even know what their goal. You're asking me what's my goal. What I think is like I want streams, but that's not the answer, right? Maybe you want fans, but if I'm a new artist, maybe just going for streams would be the right strategy.
That's a really what you're asking is the question, right? That's the actual question. Because the reality is, if you want streams, you can get them, right? Like you and I both know this. You can just run ads or submit to playlists, or those are basically the two best ways to drive listenership, right? Like those are your options. There's you can also make content too, which is great. But I think that the easiest way to drive streams is through ads and playlists. But once again, it's like you said, that's not necessarily the goal. So I would actually advise, like if I was working one-on-one with an artist and they asked me how should I spend my $1,000, I would say you shouldn't spend it. You should sit down and have a real session of just thinking through what are you trying to accomplish? Like, do you want to tour? Do you want to be a session musician? Do you just want to feel heard? Do you just want people to listen to your music because you just want to have that joy of being like, fuck yeah, people are listening to my music? Like, what is your goal? Start there. Once you have that question answered, then you can figure out where to spend your money. And if your goal is just to get heard, absolutely take that $1,000, split it between, I would just run playlist ads, to be honest. Like I would create a playlist around my music because this is going to get you the most bang for your buck. Then I would put my own music on it. I would associate myself with other artists I want to associate with. And then I would run ads to that playlist because then I own that asset forever. I can monetize it by taking submissions from other artists. And I'm also running ads to my own music. So you're getting the best of both worlds, but that's for listenership, right? If you don't care about listenership, don't spend that money there, like save it, you know what I mean? And go like make content on social media, and that can be really effective to find fans too. It really just depends what your goals are. And I try to be real with people about that. Like, I'm a streams guy, but that's just because people have asked for it. I don't think that everyone should do that. I think everyone should do what's important to them, you know?
Yeah, I just love this answer, especially since I keep getting those emails about like companies asking, like pay $200 and you will get 100,000 streams. And
Yeah.
they're botted, but this just shows how easy it is to get streams and also
Yeah.
followers on Instagram. Just pay $200 to get 100,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
So you can get your music on playlists, you can run ads, but if you don't have the funnel, basically you're taking the $1,000 and throwing them to the trash.
Yeah,
Kinda.
exactly.
So what you're saying is have first a funnel, a strategy, and then spend the money. If you don't have it, don't spend the money, save it, try to grow organically on social media, or maybe don't release music at all, or just put it on SoundCloud.
Just
Because
depends, just depends what you want. Like, I think the most important thing is for artists to just have a real, you know, a sit down and be like, what am I trying to accomplish, and get real with yourself about it and focus on what matters to you. And absolutely, if these things matter to you, get into it. You know what I mean? But you can burn $1,000 real quick if you don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean? You and I both know that. We've probably both done it. So yeah, and it's all good. I wasted a lot of money learning how to do this stuff, right? Like my
yeah,
first $1,000 was doing it wrong, That's fine.
yeah, I wish
So
it was only $1,000.
I know, right? Right. And I think that's hard for people to swallow, but when you're motivated for something, you just figure it out. You know what I mean? Like I just started running ads years ago and was just like, this isn't working. I'm just burning money. And you just figure it out of sheer willpower, Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like your work and content, Zach, because it does feel more authentic. And basically, my goal with this podcast and the things I do is to educate musicians about the importance of getting more than streams, because
Yeah.
streams are just a number, but there is so much more than it. And I want to move on to the next question because we were talking about the problems with the industry. So, what do you think is the biggest problem in the music industry right now, and how are you working to change it?
I think that's a really good question. I think one of the big challenges that's important to me, if I'm being honest, um, well, first of all, the music industry is so big and like amorphous, meaning it's not really clear what that even refers to anymore. But I
Yeah.
think that one of the major challenges for artists is that we've shifted from, the old model, which was you could only make a record if you had a lot of money and support. There was no way to make a record without a record label deal and a team and access to a studio. All of that's gone away. Now everybody has a microphone and their own recording studio in their bedroom, just like me, right? That's awesome. Democratization of the production of music. And we also have, it used to be you needed a distribution deal to get your CDs and Tower Records. And I feel like this is dating me. I'm an old man, right? But like, it used to be so impossible to put your music out that there was just everything was sort of funneled through this gate kept model of, you needed an investor and you needed a team. Now everything is you can do it all yourself. That's amazing. And it also has drawbacks. And there's a lot of tension around that. A lot of people are feeling basically alone because to some degree they are, right? So a lot of artists are just like, I'm making my music by myself. I'm releasing it by myself. I'm promoting it by myself. I'm feeling alone. I'm feeling lost. I feel like nobody cares. That's something that's really challenging and important to me and that's why I think about this goal stuff a lot is that if I could really help people, it would be around changing that feeling of being like, I'm alone, this sucks, I don't know what to do, and like I feel like everything I'm doing just isn't working. And that's why I made my whole company, our whole mission is music marketing doesn't have to suck. The whole idea is to make the experience of marketing your music better because I just think that experience sucks. So I think that the biggest challenge to me is that like isolation that people have in their work. I don't want people to feel like they have no support and don't know what they're doing and have nowhere to go. So one thing that I'm trying to do is figure out how to build a place for people to go. And it's been really hard, to be honest. Like I struggle with it and sometimes I feel like I'm doing a good job at it and sometimes I don't. And so I really want to be able to make the experience of like sharing your music more positive, and that's hard. So I think that's the thing that I care about. That's the challenge that I'm trying to solve right now.
I'm stopping myself from tearing up. Yeah,
Yeah, that shit sucks,
it's
right?
yeah. I mean, you're a musician. I'm also a musician, and definitely we became music marketers coming from that specific like struggle.
Yeah,
Just working with our own music, trying to promote it, and just feeling what it's like. And basically, we're trying now to just make musicians not feel the way we did
yeah,
when we try to promote our music. And I super appreciate that. And definitely, I do feel like it's a big problem in the music industry. And especially now, I do feel like musicians feel like it would, because you said now it's easier to promote music and create music. So now with AI, it's going to change dramatically in a way that every musician would feel so much the fear of missing out that
mm,
everyone can create vocals, for example, and if you don't know how to create those vocals, you're behind, and then you need to catch up, and it's moving so fast. And now more than ever, that's also why I'm trying to raise awareness to AI and the dangerous, because yeah, I think loneliness is a big problem in this industry, and then AI will just make it even harder for musicians to stand out. And yeah, would you say that AI is the biggest change that the music industry has experienced in the past years?
Well, I think AI is just forever. AI is going to change everything. You know what I mean? Like it's so, and I'm going to be honest. I use AI a lot in my work, right? Like I was showing you before we had this call that I use it to help me build my platform. And in that way, it's amazing. In the same way that like social media democratizes marketing, right? It makes anybody can market anything using social media. And the same way that streaming democratizes music distribution, anybody can distribute their music. AI democratizes everything. Like anybody can do anything all of a sudden. And that's going to fuck everything up, right? Like you and I both know this. Like you're saying, it's already creating a lot of tension. A lot of artists are feeling like, well, I've been spending my whole life learning how to sing and learning how to play my instrument, and now somebody just comes in and types make me a folk song and it's like sounds fucking good. And you're like, "What?" Like that's it feels diminishing. It feels like you're it feels like it just makes things feel cheap.
Yep.
And it also makes it hard to stand out, like you're saying, especially if people like AI music, which at some point that will start to happen.
Oh no.
I feel my feeling is like I'm actually more optimistic, I think. Like um I subscribe to a way of thinking that I call hopeful realism. Like, what I mean by that is I try and be realistic about where things are going and what's happening, but I also try and be hopeful and have faith that there are avenues that lead to something better because the alternative to that sucks, right? Like, I don't want to just feel like everything sucks and everything's getting worse. That doesn't help me actually live a good life and it doesn't help me make good music. So, fuck that. I'm going to subscribe to this realistic view on things, which is that AI is absolutely going to change everything. But I want to know how I can use it to make sure that I'm building my dream, right? Whatever my dream is. So if I'm a musician and AI makes me feel worse about my work, I'm not going to use it. But let's say I'm a producer. For example, I know a lot of producers. I live in LA. There's a lot of producers here who will use it for jobs that they don't like. For example, they might be getting paid to make a commercial for some company that they don't really care about, and they just need to pump out fairly generic music, right? And they're like, okay, I'm going to use AI to help me come up with ideas. I'm going to use it to help me come up with parts of the music. There's a lot of people who are very upset about that, and I get it. But I also get the other side, which is that those people are like, that's not my goal, that's my job. So I'm going to use this tool to help me speed up my job so I can get back to making my art. And I don't think AI is going to replace art. I think AI is going to replace commerce, if that makes sense. So, like, the music that is not particularly artful, I don't think it matters if AI conflicts with
Mhm.
that. That's my personal opinion. But I think when you get into art, I just think our understanding of art is going to change because humans are going to adapt to recognize and value non-AI art more is my thinking, you know? And maybe that will change over time too. AI just will become a tool. But in the meantime, I think there's like a premium that's on human made music, human made content, things that are like human. But you know, we don't know where that's going to be in 20 years. People might feel very differently. You know, people might be marrying their AI robots. You know, and like that's, you know, like I don't know, like I'm not going to start judging. Whatever you do, you man.
Let's not judge and let's hope it will never happen.
It's weird, and it's like, but yeah, I'm fairly neutral in all this stuff, which is gets me in trouble sometimes. But I just am like. I just try and be realistic. Like, yo, people are going to do what they're going to do, you know? And like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to impact me and my art. My art is still my art. I don't make it for validation. I make it for me. So who cares what AI does? It can't take away my song, you know? That's how I feel personally as an artist.
No, I totally agree that basically because of AI, if you're a real musician, if you're an authentic musician, then that would stand out even more than two
Yeah.
years ago. Because yeah, the industry will be flooded with robotic music. But what I'm a bit scared of is, especially because we both do playlists, is that if now Spotify is going to get flooded with AI music, then a lot of playlist curators are going to accept those submissions because probably
Mm.
you're not on Submit Hub. So the way I see it is right now that around 30% of the submissions are AI. And personally, I think my approval rate for
Wow.
AI is about 2%. But I'm sure that other curators accept more songs if they don't have the knowledge of like how to distinguish, for example, because as a musician myself, I can tell if it's AI or not, but I do think that other curators and other listeners can't really tell if it's AI or not. So what I'm scared of is that if it's going to be like 50% AI music and 50% music by real artists, then many times those AI producers have more money than the real musicians, and then the playlists are going to be flooded with AI music. So that would definitely take space from real musicians, and I do feel like real listeners will not be able to tell if they're
Hmm.
real or not. So don't you think that might be a problem with, unless Spotify do something about it, but with playlists?
I think so. Once again, I'm a little bit more neutral in this. Like my honest take on it is if people want to listen to AI music, I'm not going to stop them. I'm not going to judge them and I'm not going to stop them. It's not what I want to listen to, but like I don't make music for those people anyway. So for me as an artist, I'm like, look, if you're a fan of that crap, like good for you. You're not my fan anyway, so I don't care what you listen to. That's how I am though, is I'm very much like I just don't it doesn't bother me as an artist. And I think there's going to be so much AI music like you're saying that I think there's going to be a world where there's kind of going to be three layers. There's going to be just music that people make that's just like them sitting and singing a song, right? Then there's going to be music that's made with the help of AI, whether they're using it to help them mix the song, or they're using it to come up with samples for the song, or they're using it to help them write the drum beat. And it's sort of like a hybrid. It's like there's real human shit mixed in with AI shit, and then that's a song. And then there's going to be music that's 100% just generated by AI. And it's kind of like Muzak, right? There's this whole concept of Muzak, which I can't even remember what that was, but there's all kinds of different music, and I don't care what people listen to. I feel that that's
Mm-hmm.
up to them. I care more about my own experience. So when I'm listening to music, I just want to make sure that it's something that I enjoy and that makes me feel a certain way. And for me, that tends to be things that feel very human, right? So that's my taste. But if somebody wants to listen to, like, I don't know, whatever AI slop stuff is coming out, I just feel like that's their own thing. And if that takes away from like I just don't see that as a threat to me. It's so different. I'm not scared of that because I know it's going to happen. You and I both know it's going to happen, and I don't think that platforms are going to work against their own interests. Meaning, for Spotify, if people want to listen to AI music, they're going to serve it because that's their job, is to serve their customers. And I personally am like, I don't see anything wrong with that. But I know most people will disagree with me. That's just my personal take.
Right.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's gonna be a bit hard to make you hate AI, especially after I saw how much it helps you before. So yeah, it's always interesting to hear another perspective about AI from a
Yeah.
marketer and a musician, and definitely it makes me feel a bit less pessimistic about it. So that's super cool. um, let's move on. I have another question for you. I would like to know, what's the biggest mistake you see artists making with their marketing today?
Number one is not, we were talking about this a little earlier, like not knowing your goals. Like, number one, know what you're trying to do. Otherwise, you just start falling into traps. And it's not that the intentions are bad. It's that um, the tools are designed, like Spotify and social media are designed to get you to buy into them, right? Like social media is designed to get you chasing likes and follows. Spotify is designed to get you chasing streams and listeners. That's fine, right? But you got to know why you're doing it. Otherwise, you just fall into the trap and you just keep chasing more likes and followers and streams, but they don't necessarily feed into whatever it is that you want out of your music journey, you know? So I think number one is that. Like the biggest mistake is just trying to get more likes and get more streams but really not having a sense of what's meaningful to you. You know what I mean? And what you're like, do you want to be a touring musician? Do you want to be a session
Yeah.
musician? Do you want to be a producer? That sort of stuff. And so clarifying that first allows you to be really intentional about your work. Like if you know that you want to go on tour and build a band and like play all over the world, then you can come up with a strategic approach to making content that helps you move in that direction. And you can use Spotify as a tool to help you move in that direction by associating with artists that you want to go play shows with, for example. So you can be way more calculated in your marketing approach rather than just like throwing noodles at the wall and seeing if you get, oh, sick, I just like got some more streams or whatever. And that's cool. And obviously I'm happy to help people do that. But number one, find your goal. And then number two, go get it, So that's the most common mistake I see is skipping that first step of identifying why you're doing it in the first place.
Yeah, immediately throwing money into playlists, ads, all of those things, trying to chase the numbers, I guess. Yeah. That's what musicians usually do. All right. So, Zach, now it's the speed round. You have
right.
1 minute. Okay? Wait, let me open my phone. All right, 1 minute, and I will ask you a question. Okay. If you had to start your music career from scratch today, how would you do it? 1 minute. Start.
If I was starting my music career from scratch today, I would just learn songs and write songs and play songs and hang out with friends and make music and not pay any attention to any of this stuff. That's what I would do. That's what I did, and that's what I would recommend everybody does. Go make music because you like it. And if that feels good, keep doing it. And then if that feels good and you want to like try and turn it into a business, cool. If not, none of this matters. Straight up, right? And if you're like, okay, now I want to start building my career because now I'm like, oh, I really enjoy this and I'm feeling like it makes sense and it's viable, then you start getting strategic, defining what you want to do. You want to be a session musician, producer, touring artist, whatever, and then you get after it. That's how I would approach it, and I would focus all of my efforts at first on building community around making music and finding people that I like spending my time with.
Perfect.
All of my energy on the art. Yeah.
That's perfect. Not even marketing.
I wouldn't even think about marketing at all.
Not even think.
No, doesn't matter.
That was so surprising. I really expected something about marketing, but
nope.
The idea of really focusing on music, wow. Damn, that's super inspiring.
Honestly, right?
Like, just do music. Yeah, don't think about AI. Don't think about playlists.
Who cares? Yeah, none of it matters. That's marketing. You market because you're trying to promote a business or a project or something, but if you don't even have a business or a project, why are you marketing? Who cares? Just make music because it feels good. It's special. Put your phone down, That's
Thank you
my
for
honest
this,
take.
Zach. I'm sure that my audience will be also very happy with your answer.
Cool.
So much stress around here. And yeah, guys, just make music. Make good music and be happy and satisfied with what you make, and then success will follow.
Yeah, and it makes your marketing easier because now you're like proud of what you made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not unless it's a business. If it's a business, it's different. Then it's like, okay, well, how do I make more money? You know what I mean? But that's a different question. So if I was starting my career as a musician, step one, enjoy making music and just make a lot of it, like a fuck ton of it, with my friends.
Amen. All right. I know you have a new platform to help artists find playlists and for curators to review submissions. I joined actually this week and I'm excited to explore it. But can you tell our listeners about the platform and what makes it special?
Yeah, so basically what I realized is, I've been helping people that are doing the marketing journey and figuring out how to build their brands and all of that. I've been helping them run ads. That was one of the first things I started offering. They were trying to figure out, a lot of people were trying to figure out how to get more streams and listeners and stuff. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to show you guys how to run ads to do exactly that. It's actually pretty straightforward once you get it down. It's a skill. You just have to learn it. then I started realizing that my favorite way, like we were talking about earlier in this interview, we were talking about running ads to playlists with your own music on them, because I find that to be just a great way to just have a permanent asset that you can continue using to promote your own music. Um, and so I was helping people do that. So now I'm like, I have my own playlist that I'm running ads to, and I'm teaching people how to run ads to promote playlists to promote their own music. And then I realized a lot of people are like, well, we want, I'd like to be on that playlist. People would DM me, hey man, I'd love to be on your playlist. So I was like, okay, I'm going to build a way for them to send me their songs. They can pay to send me their songs. I'll listen to it. If it's a good fit, I'll add them to the playlist. And if it's not, I'll refer them somewhere else. And the idea is then, they're helping me pay for the ads to promote the playlist, and I'm able to promote all of us, right? So now I've got like thousands of people that are running ads to their own playlists, and I just realized I need a place for all of our playlists to live. So I built the platform so everybody could add their playlists and start submitting to each other's playlists. So that happened pretty organically, and it mostly started with like friends of mine uploading their playlists, and now it's starting to grow because it's turned into a business, and now I'm marketing it out so that anybody can import their playlists and submit songs to each other, and it sort of becomes like a place for people to share music, which is really cool. And it's something I really want to work on, actually. Like the sharing of the music side of it is not quite as good as I want it to be. It's pretty transactional in terms of just being like, I'm going to submit my song to your playlist to get more streams, but it'd be cool to have it feel more like exciting just to get on a playlist because a playlist that you likes your music, so that it's more genuine, So that's something I want to work on. I'm not sure how to do that yet, but that's what I've been doing. Yeah.
Are you talking about trading positions, or
kind of like tradings, but the platform still works as a facilitation, right? Like it's still at the end of the day a business. So how do we facilitate exchanges for people in a way that makes sense for the platform so that it can continue, and so that people are trading songs and stuff. So the way it works right now is like you can import playlists and then take submissions, and you get paid to review those submissions. So you can make a lot of money on it. People are making thousands of dollars already. Or you can go onto it and just submit your music to playlists, and you paid for them to consider your song. And yeah, and like you can get on all kinds of cool playlists. But it'd be sick to have that feeling be more like, I don't know how to do this yet, but I want it to feel like you're actually connecting with people more than just like making a transaction to get on a playlist. So I haven't figured that piece out yet. That's the next step for the emotional side of that journey, if that makes sense.
yeah. And the platform grows so quickly, so I believe that if someone listens to this episode in a few months from now, then the platform might be completely different. And I bet you already figured out what you just said about community. So yeah, if you want to check the platform, you can check the description of this episode, and you can join as either a curator or a musician. And yeah, the platform grows, and I'm a big fan of it. As a musician and a curator, I just joined, and yeah, I can't wait to see how it grows.
Hell yeah.
So, all right. Thank you so much for being here, Zach. I know it's also your catchphrase. Thank you for being here, right?
Oh yeah, thank you for being here. Absolutely, man. That and music marketing doesn't have to suck, right? Gratitude and a little bit of positivity.
The name of the episode should be Music Marketing Doesn't Have to Suck. And we can end it with thank you for being here. And how can people find you?
You can find me by looking up Magic Nothing anywhere. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok. You can find our website. You can find our playlist curation app and submission app. You can find us. Just look up Magic Nothing. You'll find it.
Amazing. Thanks
you so much for having me. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, ciao.
Ciao.